I'm talking about me.
You talking about
this
you.
Is my experience.
Go ahead,
about me, not talking about you.
Uh-huh.
At the end of the day, like, I know for me, I was born, what you said, a male.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that my mentality is still, at the end of the day, that's why I feel like a nigga could never play with me. Because I feel like that I treat, like, I'm still, in my mind, the mentality is like giving, like, I'm going to get you before you get me.
No, absolutely.
And it's still giving male. So I feel like that.
But do you think that may have got something to do with like the lived experience before? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
all of this stuff.
Because at the end of the day, even though like you can transition and you can be like beautiful, you can like get you can get everything in your mind. Like you can get like the whole change and everything. But at the end of the day, that whole part of you of being from male to female, that male part, some of it's literally gonna linger in your mind on like how you think.
Okay.
Like not how you act, not how you look, but how you think.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about a trans man, I know they probably about to be like.
Because I already know where you're going, but let me say this, right? So okay, I was having this conversation with the gentleman that I was talking to because we weren't dating, and he was trying to pose that same thing. And I said, well, even in reference to Steve Harvey's book, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, right? Which is giving reference to biological women, cisgender women, being able to think like a man and still act like a lady. So why is it not the same for women of the trans experience?
No. First of all, that movie was like, I'm not
talking about the movie, I'm just saying.
I know,
like,
but that's not a real movie.
But I know cisgender women who operate like
majority of them don't.
Okay.
Now I feel like for us, like, ain't you single?
I am.
You're single. Like now, if probably like 9 times out of 10, if you was like a biological woman, you would not be sick. Ain't you stress free?
You think so?
No, because I feel like that with us, it's like. I'm not saying we like really we know what to look for. Like, cause at some point of time, it's like we know how we live. I know I'm just speaking for me. Let me say this.
That's it. You can only speak for you.
For me, I know that not even just from my past life. I have sisters.
Yeah.
I had a mother. Like I know how men are.
Right.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, I know what I was born as, and I feel like that. Now I have been a little like I do feel like that with trans women, we can be a little dumb. Yeah, we have been until you learn.
So tell me a story about when you was dumb.
You know, I'm not gonna say. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you a story like when I feel like, and I'm gonna tell you a story that made me not dumb.
Okay, I like that too.
And I'm gonna see him this podcast.
Okay.
He's gonna gag.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, when I moved to Atlanta, right, first of all, I had an ex that lived here. We was in Virginia together. Everything.
Okay.
We went to Hampton. I went to Norfolk State. We were together 5-7 years off and on.
Oh, wow.
I moved to Atlanta because he was sleeping with my roommate. He was a gay man. That's why I would never date gay men again. Because when I met him, I had never transitioned. But in my process of transitioning, he kept acting like he still wanted to be with me. And I know that, like, that's how I have a lot of life lessons. I know I'm never going to compete with a gay man. So I'm never going to date a gay man.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing. I can't date a gay man.
When I moved to Atlanta, met a man that said that he liked the women and trans girls. At the end of the day, he liked the women, trans girls, and gay men. I'm never dating anybody that's pansexual.
Okay. What about bisexual?
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to say bisexual.
Okay.
Probably, but because I don't feel like that. No, I want a man who like women.
Okay.
And a man who like women is not going to be bisexual. So that's women are trans women and cisgender women.
Yeah.
And that's what you like. You're not bisexual.
Yeah, absolutely. So
now, I'm being that nice.
Okay, go ahead. The story you weren't.
So for my essay, I felt like that, girl, he done everything he was supposed to do as a man. Mm-hmm. He treated me the way that I have never ever, like this is like in 2009, 2011. Mm-hmm. He treated me the way that I've never seen a trans woman ever in life get treated. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mind you, this is 2009, 2011. all my friends is like, oh, I like you for her and all this and that, or whatever the case may be. But when people say karma, and I just want to tell this quick story. People say karma, right? Now, when I first moved to Atlanta, he was dating a trans girl, right? Every time they would get into it, he would end up at my house spending the night. Now, mind you, he was spending the night. We never had sex. We never had sex, and I cannot wait to see this thing. I want him to see this. We didn't have sex for a whole year. You know that's not normal when it comes to the girl, like the
girl. That's not my story.
But he was from D.C.
Oh, what?
I had moved from D.C. to Atlanta. We clicked. Now we had sex like and a whole year had sex one time. We got real drunk that one time, but we was friends. And so what I noticed was that every single time that he would get into it with her, I wasn't thinking that at the moment. He would come to my house for the night. We was not having sex or anything like that. Fast forward, they finally broke up. We got in a relationship. Every single time that me and him, and I used to blame her. But when he got with me, it's like, I don't like to argue. I'm not doing no arguing, any type of stuff like that. You can argue, you can scream, you can yell, you can do whatever you want to do. Not doing it. I would lay in the bed. That's the time when I said that. That's when I was like, getting full and stuff like that. Girl, I knew on the Friday when he come home, you're gonna do all this because you want to go out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get what I need to get, my vodka, and I'm gonna lay back in the bed. I'm gonna watch you storm back and forth and do everything what you want to do. So every time he would get mad, he would go over to somebody's house the same way he did when he was the previous girl.
Oh, wow.
But I'm Aquarius. So I think about all this. You could do something in 2019 and 2024. I'm going to think back to that. So I would tell my friend, like, girl, something's not right because, like, I remember they think I'm crazy. I'm just exaggerating this and that. Now, after whatever he did with me and that girl, he ended up being in a relationship with me. You know what he did after like all what he did with me and that person? They ended up in a relationship.
Oh, he went back to her.
No, the person that he kept getting mad at me. When he would get mad at me, he would go to their house.
Oh, so he did what he did to her to you,
and then he did it to yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's another thing that made me learn about karma. And my mom always said the way you meet a man is how you're gonna lose him.
That's what they say. Now that I do now.
When the last time you been in a relationship, though?
4 years ago. I actually talked about that on one of the last episodes. Yeah, 4 years ago.
Why 4 years ago? So many since I known you.
Yeah.
I never knew you was in a relationship before.
No, I was literally at the tail end of that relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 years of 2020.
20.
But I met you in like 2019.
So I met him in 20. So me and him were together for about a year and a half. I met him in 2019. We were together all the way up until 2020. So when that last 6 months of you together ain't together, you know what I'm saying? He helped nurse me back together after I had my surgery. And that's when we had that like clarity moment, like, we're better apart.
I think for me, like the reason why I want to stay single, and because I really don't want to go to jail. Cause I think that I've learned, like with my first ex, like before I moved to Atlanta, he the reason why I moved to Atlanta.
Oh, you
I was
moved
living
for a
here.
man?
No, I moved because to get away from a man.
Oh, you moved?
Like me and him was together for like 7 years off and on, right? I went to Coppin State, then I stopped going to Coppin State and I moved to DC for 1 year. And me and this guy, every time he would go to jail, he would get out of jail, he would find me, but we was together from 757, like where I'm from.
Come on to 757.
And then I just found they was like, and I, for me, I felt like, I think for me, like this is another reason why I act the way I act, right? Because I don't want to be I don't want to have this stereotype of a trans woman. And so even like being in the house, like my boyfriend, I know that I'm just newly transitioning. He identifies as a gay man.
Oh.
And then my ex-boyfriend, like when I was like newly transitioning, my roommate is a gay man. I didn't want to feel like I didn't want them to label me as this crazy transsexual. That like I didn't want them to be friends with each other, right? So I would let them be so free with each other. And I would be like, this is what
Meaning like they was having sex?
No, bitch, no.
Oh, I was like,
because I feel like I was still like, and I felt like that because at that point in time I was doing sex work at that time, and so I know how gay men are. Like this is not like I've been outside with the gays. I know that probably my roommate probably was saying like, well,
outside with the gays.
I feel like that he probably was staying to him, and he was. I'm not dumb.
You said he was stabbing him.
No, I'm saying he probably was saying to my boyfriend like, well, she doing sex work. I don't know why you with her. He was saying all of that.
Oh, okay. What?
Yeah. So for me, I'm not dumb. I know the whole game because the thing about it is that this. I've lived a life as a butch queen. Okay. Not like no, like I've lived that whole entire life.
Right.
And then I've lived this whole entire life. I know how the game works. So I knew what was going on. And so when I found that my ex-boyfriend was so manipulative, he would always come to me and tell me what this boy was doing to him. And I was dumb then. I believed it. Believing like he not doing nothing. When it all came out, they was having each other.
Oh, so they was.
You remember my best friend that you met, the dark skinned one? Okay. Like at my birthday dinner, I moved to Atlanta with him.
Oh, okay.
And so at that time, that's how I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
I left DC. I never wanted to leave DC. So I felt like that with this situation now, that's why I'm single.
Okay.
Because I would go to jail about a man. You feel like you should not go to jail?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to jail about the man.
It's just
the principle.
I think that's the same thing. I'm not going to the prison. I can't do the prison. I think that's the same thing. I think it's the fear. But love is the thing.
I feel like you have to learn. I feel like you have to know yourself. Like you have to learn yourself. And I know for me, I'm not at that point right now. Like,
so are you dating?
Oh yeah, I do got a man.
You got a man right now?
Nah, man.
Oh.
No, I did tell him I'm gonna talk about him.
Oh, you told the man that you dating now that you was gonna talk about him today on That's the Truth.
So I gotta go ahead and say this real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
I ain't gonna say his name.
Please, down for all of you.
But I feel like that this is my thing with men though. I feel like with men, like me honestly, I could be single for the rest of my life. It's no shade. Like I could be single.
That sound like a song. Who sang that song? If I can't, hey.
I feel like with men, like for me, that's why I get so upset. It's like because this is a man that like, men would chase me for like a whole year. And like me personally, like I might be on the apps and stuff like that. I don't check the messages. I forget about the apps and all that. I don't have to be with a man. Cause I know that at the end of the day, it's like, I'm an Aquarius. Number one, you either get mad because I don't have emotions, or you gonna get mad because like once I start to get emotions, there's gonna be something crazy and not gonna like this is not what you want. With him, he chased me for like a whole year.
The current.
Yeah, but he doing right now though.
Ain't that it?
But we had a candlelight dinner and everything. But I feel like that with me, I feel like that you have to.
How did that make you feel?
Girl, I really didn't care for real. But my mom always said this. When I would watch my mom with my little brother there and with my dad, my mom always said that the only way that a man's gonna want you and he treat you good is that you treat him bad. You treat him mean. And every man that I have treated mean are the ones that stalked me, or the ones that would not leave me alone. The ones that I treated nice have treated me like shit. And like my mom always said it, like not really treat them, but like shouldn't act like you don't care.
Let me tell you, I haven't told this story, and I'm not going to tell it today, but I'm just going to say,
for
that 9 week, I referenced that now. I was in a long-term relationship by myself. I was in a 9-week relationship by myself. Honey, let me tell you something. I can cook. Now, I know I like to go and support the community and eat and do all the things, but I can cook. But I don't cook unless a man involved. That man had me slaving, slinging these titties over a hot stove, girl. I was in here. Made a whole, because he likes spaghetti. Girl, I can make a mean spaghetti. I made him spaghetti. That's some salmon in the air fryer. Girl, I made salmon. I made stuffed salmon, air fried salmon, made some rice, some broccoli, girl, all of that stuff so he can have some lunch to go to work. Girl, I must be too nice.
I feel like with my ex in Atlanta, I feel like that for me, and I'm going to say this, I'm not going to say no more because I'm saying a lot. I feel like that when I met him, I was in a place that I was escorting. I was prostituting. In my life, I felt like that I'm never going to stop doing that for a man because, like, I like to make money. You want to have sex with me, I need money. Like, probably even still to this day, like, if you think you're going to have sex with me, then I feel like that men trigger me to this day. Like, when I meet them talking about sex, my mind literally go back because it ain't been that long that I stopped. But I feel like with him, it's like I did everything. Right. I went like 3 whole years.
You did everything right.
I didn't make no money.
I'm screaming.
And I never forget, like, that's about the time my mom had passed, right? and like nobody knew how much money I got back, anything like that. But I remember me and him moved into a townhouse. This is when we know that niggas are so trifling. We moved into a townhouse. He had a pit bull. You know, I had my little Trixie still at that point in time. So we moved into a townhouse. We had got into so much stuff when we lived in our last place, and I said, we're gonna move into the townhouse, you know, because we want this fairy tale stuff. I'm like, we're
Girl,
gonna
don't
move
we
here.
all?
I said, I'm like, my mom, I said, the first thing that happens, you gotta go. Moving to the townhouse, he didn't even know that I had paid the rent up for a whole year. So I moved. My plans was to get his half of the rent money
And save it.
save it.
Absolutely.
The first month we get into the thing, we get into the place,
He out.
I had to put him out. And he told me, he said, now that's why you gotta sit over there and pay that rent by yourself.
I'm stop.
And when I said, you know me, like, I said, but my parents paid for a whole year. He said, oh, really? That's how you was doing it? Yes. I gotta protect myself because, like, what life has taught me is that, like, even though I know I had both of my parents and stuff like that, like, growing up, they raised me. I know that moving into, like, different spaces and different places, like,
Yeah.
that's, like, here, I don't give a fuck about nothing here because my family is 3 hours away.
Yeah.
They would come up here, I can go there. But living all the way in Georgia, I literally had to protect myself to know that,
Absolutely.
like, bitch, I'm here in Georgia. Now, now my brothers and stuff, they don't play by me. I had went to jail. They had spent a lot of money to get me out of jail. But it's a little different because even with them getting me out of jail, they had to go through so much. And my family, like me and my brothers, they're just like my mom. I never forget when I went to jail and the bond was like $3,000, right? So my brother and my sister, they had to send $3,000 down there to Atlanta to get me out of jail. I was like, my mom might as well be here right now. They was like, oh no, we need to know who he is. We need to see a picture of him. We need to make sure. We need to call the bail bondsman.
Oh, to make sure that they get the
Yes,
money.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
this was my friend for years. I was like, they was right with my mom.
Yeah, because they went, but I mean, $3,000 wasn't no, they ain't no.
So
little
for
bit of
me, it was
money.
like, so living in like Georgia, like now in DC, that's why I be giving. I don't give a fuck now in DC because
you closer to your
yeah.
family.
But that was another reason why I moved, and then even why I moved because I felt like I had a lot of family members that was passing away. Like when my mom passed away, my mom didn't even know that I lived in Georgia. My mom hated Atlanta because she didn't want me to get caught up in this lifestyle, and so she never knew I lived in her last days of living is when she found out I lived in Atlanta. And it was like probably like the last 2 weeks of her living, she found out I lived in Georgia. I moved up, I packed up and moved to Georgia without her knowing because she didn't want me to get caught up in that lifestyle. And I did. And that was how the whole thing, like the whole escort and all that type of stuff started was because it was like, I feel like in Georgia, the minimum wage is still $7.25.
Oh, girl.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, man. So, sister, let me ask you this question. Because you said that you got a man in your life right now. Right now. It's on the right track. Maybe this program is good.
I just stopped talking to him, then we started back talking. I feel like that with him, I feel like that with
Girl,
him.
somebody is blowing you up.
I feel like with him, I feel like that he really likes me.
That's
I know that
good.
he likes me. I know that like he want to be with me, but I feel like you know how niggas they be confused.
Well, listen, we going to hope for the best.
I feel they be very confused. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like they don't understand.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I feel like they don't understand where it's like they don't really know how to love you. So I feel like they scared what people gonna say.
Well, one day at a time. Just one day.
I like no one day at a time.
One day, listen, overtime, not overnight.
So you have to go find another man.
Maybe, but at least give this a fair shot. Listen, how you like the food?
Now this food was good though.
That's good. The food was bomb. So, listen, that's gonna wrap it up for That's a Chew. We're gonna come back and we're gonna find out where we can find Kaniya at on her social media and maybe some of the work that she's doing now in the community. And we'll be right back.
Like when my mom passed away, they showed me that life insurance is so like. My mom used to always be like, when I die, I ain't gonna have no money in the bank, but my kids are gonna be well taken care of. And when that situation happened, like my mom had a couple dollars in the bank, because she didn't want it because she wanted to be fighting over it. But she left us so much that like we took care of ourselves. And so I think that a lot of times people don't understand, especially when it comes to trans women, it's like we do all this stuff, we get all these surgeries, we buy all these wigs and this and that. And then like when something happens, you don't have life insurance.
Absolutely.
Life insurance is so cheap. Like I literally pay $26 a month for me and my little brother life insurance.
Oh, word. I pay 32.
And that's for both of us.
That's over.
And I feel like as a trans woman, it's like you don't have to get like all this life insurance. You can get 5,000,
Sure
10,000,
can.
or whatever. So the things that I'm going to offer, like my program is going to be called True Identity. Of course, I'm going to offer like outreach, HIV, testing, treatment, all that stuff like that. But I didn't want to go into the whole thing of like housing. But I feel like that housing, like when I sat down like with my CEO, and she's like, you gotta think, she was like, I can help you do whatever you want to do, but you gotta think rational. You gotta think the things that you can like touch right now. And
tangible outcomes.
Yes. And so I was like, because for me, I'm a big advocate on housing. I'm like, I can't do housing right now. Like that's just not a thing that's gonna happen. So I started to take my own experience, especially like record expungement. The reason why I said record expungement because like no matter what people think I look like, and I had a lot of charges, a lot of prostitution charges. And I had a lot of prostitution charges. And the thing is now is that I don't have none of them. Because and most of them came from here. Like, and I met a lady that worked at Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service. And I met her. That's how I had that. Remember I just had that workshop a couple months ago? Like I got the workshop because of her. Because of my own personal experience. Because it was like, she done this for me, and she's still doing it. So I know that, like, I know that she works.
Yeah.
Like, we have a partnership with a place called University of Maryland Safe Center. It's a place on, like, about human trafficking, but that was the place that made me first go into, like, therapy. They was like, I didn't get human trafficking, but in order for me to get that case dropped, they were like, you got to go there. When I went there, they was like, you got to give me 3 goals. They said. So I was like, well, you know what? I want to get my student loan straight and go back to school. I want to get into therapy. And then it was like, I want to get I want to get my record expunged. That's how I met the lawyer. They got my record expunged. That's how, like, now I'm about to get back into school, got my student loans together. And that was, like, how I got into therapy.
That's amazing.
And by me getting that partnership, they started giving Heart to Hand $20,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
But this was off of, like, my own personal experiences.
Absolutely.
So anything that I do, it's not about money. I'm not trying to get no grant. I'm going to give you the resources that I have actually used myself.
I love that.
So anything that I do, it's going to be myself. Like with life insurance, the reason why I just added life insurance is because, like, you know, we have our support groups. You know, all of our support groups are only for people who are, like, HIV positive outside, like, the trans support group that I had. And they felt like a black insurance person that was from Baltimore. He came to one of our support groups, and you know, our clients, like I said, they are HIV positive. Some of them have other, like, comorbidities or other, like, infectious disease or whatever they have going on. He came in there and got a lot of them life insurance.
That's amazing.
So, you know, when it comes to the girls, the thing about life insurance, like, a lot of the girls are already positive. So I met this man. So I know that this man works. So that's why I said life insurance, record expungement, estate planning, name change, stuff like that I know that I've used myself personally. So that's what I'm doing.
I love that. Now, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on
Which one do you want to give to people?
You can find me on Facebook, Kaniya Walker, or you can find me on Instagram. Girl, what's my Instagram?
Which one?
Because
you got
Naya.
Because you got to.
What is this, Sexy Naya?
Is that one? And then you still use the conversations one?
You know, the thing about, oh no, here's the thing. You know, the pages got hacked, right?
Okay, so which one got hacked?
Conversation with Kaniya was both of them. The Sexy Naya _23.
Okay.
And they was all linked together. They both got hacked.
Okay.
But I feel like that on Facebook didn't get hacked though.
Okay.
But I do feel like that you can reach me on Instagram, Sexy Naya _.
I thought it got hacked.
No.
Not that one?
No, I created another one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, Naya _23 is the new one.
Okay.
Conversations with Kaniya, that's the same thing or whatever. But also, I feel like that for me, like, Facebook is the safest place.
Just the Facebook.
They never went nowhere. And I do have like a workshop coming up. Like I just had like the mental health workshop.
Yeah.
I just wish the people would have came to it because I had, you know, Shantae Spriggs.
No.
Shantae, like she a sister in the woman, and she is so amazing.
Oh,
I had the
wow.
girls in there crying and everything.
Oh,
Like it was a
stop.
safe space. But like for like the workshop, I have a workshop coming up on September the 28th. It's
Well,
about
this will be out after September the 28th.
well, that's not
So.
right.
No, it's okay. Listen.
But I am gonna have another workshop coming out in October.
Okay.
For, like called Healthy Sexual. I just want people to like the things that I do, like just come to it. Like
Yeah,
even if you don't
support.
live in Prince George's County, come to it because it's gonna help somebody else. Because
So they have an invitation to come even if they're not in Prince
yeah,
George's
because what I'm
County.
trying to do, I'm trying to collect data because
Yeah.
even though you don't live in Prince George's County, you know about Prince George's County.
Right.
So like any type of survey I do, the more data I get, the more money I can get to provide services. Like we just gonna let Sasha Bruce come over there and start a whole program. So it's like that's something that I feel like that I should have been doing but I feel like that when it comes to like trans women, we complain a lot about the things that we don't have, but we don't come out to try to get the things that
Oh,
we
my.
need.
Oh, my.
And that's like to be continued.
I'm screaming. That's a whole nother conversation. Well, listen, I thank you so much for coming on and having fun and literally being vulnerable and open and honest. I've had a wonderful time.
Me too. So let me say this to you before we go.
Okay.
So I just want to say to you, I want to say that like I'm so like happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Know, like I've been like praising you even like when you was first like on P Valley with your little pot. I'm like,
That's
oh, that's
crazy.
my girlfriend. Blah blah blah. Because I felt like that with everything that you're doing now, like you still have not changed. Like
Thank
even
you.
when like even though I didn't know at first you was flying out before you told me, but like we was still hanging out. Like you was
Yeah.
still like let's go to dinner and this and that. So I know that you never changed. So my thing with the podcast, it was like, okay, girl, she got a podcast. But when I first seen the podcast, I thought that okay, this is something that she's doing on her own or whatever. So then when I saw that you said that this is something you said it earlier too. You was like you're gonna let God do his thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I saw Dominique come on here, Dominique was like, I just feel like I need to be here.
Yeah.
And I felt like that you was like, well, I'm gonna let God just do what it is.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that's why, mind you, when I saw that, as soon as I heard what she said and what you said, that's where my text came from. Because I feel like it's so many times that like, especially like living in the DMV area,
Yeah.
I feel like that we allow people to come in here and like take up our spaces.
Yeah.
And like we don't support one another.
Yeah.
And like it's not saying it's a thing against Dominique, but I felt like that. No, it's like if she come here, like she from out of town,
Yeah.
and if she can hit you up and say, "Let me come on your show,"
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, no, I gotta go on her show because there's so many
Yeah.
times that it's being from the DMV, people come in and like they don't support. We don't support each other all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So I was like, I gotta get on there, and I knew
thank
that
you.
like, and I'm like, I'm not a podcast type of person, so or like not even really like a conversational type of person. Like everybody not gonna get me to talk. But I knew that coming here, I felt like that we can have a conversation that's gonna be organic,
Yeah.
like you know me or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I did feel like that I gotta get on there. So you know when I text you, I'm like, well, girl, whenever you ready. I told your mom earlier when she was up, well, bitch, I didn't know she gonna say. I was like, bitch, I text her on Monday or Tuesday. This bitch told me something. Girl, what you doing on Friday?
Listen, because we was filming, honey.
And I was like, so for me, I was like, well, girl, and I'm not gonna lie with me, I'm gonna keep it so 100.
It's a safe space.
I didn't hear from you, right? I know we had talked like probably like Wednesday.
Mhm.
We had talked about what we were gonna do. So then Thursday came around and didn't hear from you. So then today it was like, girl, I got so much to do. It's like, girl, I gotta go through this grand opening. I told her I'm going to her comedy show. I didn't hear from my bro. I was like, well, girl, she's not gonna text me. Soon as like I was ready to go to like the grand opening, girl, you sent me the whole itinerary.
Yes, listen.
So I was like, girl, I gotta go. I definitely have to go. But I am really proud of you.
Thank
And I want to say
you.
congratulations.
Thank you
I hope you
so
keep
much.
this soaring or whatever because I know that when we first met, like you did say that you wanted to do acting or whatever the case may be. And I feel like that is you being like a black trans woman. And especially from like being from like DC,
Yeah.
like that is not like, and people might take it lightly or whatever, but it's not lightly because I feel like trans women from DC, it's like you're not going to see them in those spaces.
Yeah.
Like that's some stuff like Atlanta or something like that. Like, but from you to be from DC or whatever, and you're doing that, whatever, I think that everybody really should support you. And like, I congratulate you.
Thank
I'm
you.
proud of you.
Thank you,
And
sister.
any chance I get, I'm always gonna support you.
You do, and I appreciate you for that. And I want to say thank you so much. I received that, and the same to you.
And
I'm
anytime
so
you
glad.
need me, I'm here. And I
Yeah.
know that anytime I know that I have booked you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
I know for a fact because like I am about like giving people what they worth, but I think that like you understand that it's like
Yeah.
this not my money.
Yeah,
If I had the money, it was
absolutely.
my money, I would give you
No,
like. But I feel like
absolutely.
that every single time that you've always said like, well, I do this for you, and I really
Absolutely.
do appreciate that. Like all jokes aside, I appreciate because I feel like that after you was on those shows, like you should charge more. And I'm sure that you probably charge other people more, but I feel like that you don't forget where you came from, and
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
really appreciate that. And so, this has been an amazing episode of the MIP podcast. Again, please like, share, subscribe, comment, let us know if you can relate to any of the stories or information that was shared today. I want you to remember that you are the most important person in your life. Listen, if you don't do it, it won't get done. Until we meet again next time, be safe.